Welcome to the Smart Driving Cars podcast. We appreciate you taking the time with us. This edition is sponsored by the Smart ETF's Smart Transportation and Technology ETF, symbol MOTO. For more information, head to motoetf.com. Technical support is provided by CARTS, the Corporation for Automated Road Transportation Safety, a 501c3 corporation. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with the Faculty Chair of Autonomous Vehicle Engineering at Princeton University, Alan Kornhauser. Hi, Alan. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Fred.
Well, taking it from the top in the latest newsletter, Local Motors, the startup behind Ollie, the autonomous shuttle, has shut down. This comes just a few months after a new CEO took over with plans to scale production globally. The former CEO, Jay Rogers, had transitioned to an advisory role. And I guess there's some sadness here because we've known this company.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad. I mean, it's really, really sad. And to me, I thought it was a player that had an opportunity to actually be successful in this space. And they were kind enough to come to the third summit and show their vehicle. I thought that they had sales, in a number of places. They were demonstrating the vehicle. The whole concept of doing rapid prototyping and building and of vehicles.
3D printing, right? They were 3D printing vehicles.
3D printing the thing is, it's not the whole thing, but large parts of the thing were kind of key. I don't know what happened and what internally, externally happened. Part of the issue is that you're selling these things to transit companies. I think it takes forever to get a contract. It takes forever to get paid. I don't know if it was a funds flow situation or what. It's just tough. I mean, we look at those who are trying to build, to do vehicles, special vehicles for this. It's not easy. We know that in the taxi industry, it's not been easy to make a taxi that serves people getting in and getting out and getting in and getting out. You look at the London cab and its sort of unique design. You look at the yellow cabs in New York and so on, their unique designs. Ford had somewhat of a heck of a time designing a vehicle that, could actually survive in New York and serve as a mobility vehicle. You look at some of these paratransit vehicles, they're tough. You look at Waymo trying it with the Firefly, they threw in the towel. You look at Zoox originally, in trying to do, all the things, to do sensors, to do vehicles, to do the software and the sensor hardware. It's tough. You look at the efforts that GM Cruise has made with its vehicles that they've evolved, and again, the Mary Barra presentation at CES, you just wonder if they're really going to put out a vehicle like that. Volkswagen's out there trying it, maybe trying to do a mobility vehicle. You have the NHTSA and federal safety standards having to do with crash survivability and things like that with these vehicles. Just not an easy thing to do, and the conversion of a vehicle, that we have for ourselves as a private vehicle, all of a sudden being now, something that you can get in and get out. And then of course you have to make sure that you do wheelchairs and all that sort of thing. As Glenn Mercer put out in one of the sessions of the fourth summit, it is just not easy to build vehicles that will end up surviving and being viable. And so I don't know if that's what Ollie ran into with this unique vehicle. Sure looked like a great effort.
Well,
by
you
them.
never know what's going to happen because the people who have worked on this and the ideas that they've had, they're going to go somewhere, and
Yep.
hopefully it will still be fruitful in some way.
Yeah, that's what I hope for. It seemed to me the form factor looked pretty good, and so on. But again, it's just, you know, but there are people that are in the vehicle design business that they should know how to do this, but it's not me. It's certainly not me. Well, I don't know. I'm probably not able to do anything. Yeah.
TechCrunch reports that in China, robotaxis have charged ahead over the last year. Startups, they call it, are in an arm race every few weeks. Another major player announcing that it's beginning a new pilot project. And you had a few comments about that.
Yeah, and they appropriately caution the reader that say, hey, uh, we don't know if this is all true or not. And of course, I go in there and say, my goodness, you have to be careful not only what is said, what is not said. But there are some examples in there of somebody starting service in January 2021, and this is now January 2022. And if in fact, and they imply that they're doing it driverlessly without an attendant, providing it out there, I'm saying, for a Trenton Moves, we're talking about 2 years with attendants before we start pulling them. But now that they've been operating for a year without an attendant, I'm thinking we operate a year without an attendant. Oh my goodness. People should be so clamoring to use these things that the hockey stick. I mean, more and more customers knocking on our door, and nothing in there is about an expanding demand for these. What's holding it back? Oh my goodness, if you can put these things out there without an attendant, and you just sit there and you replicate the sensors and the actuators and the software, oh my goodness, that scales. You want to roll, you want to move up that hockey stick, boom. And I don't know, one doesn't hear about the
The
market
bottom line, I
success.
think, Alan, is that there's more that much more that we don't know than what we know about what's
That's what
going on.
I think. Hey, if you're driverless out there, but you have to have a chase car behind it to be able to make sure everybody's safe, or you have to have police escort or something like that, or who knows what, then instead of paying for one driver, you're paying for 4 folks. That doesn't scale. Okay. You can't afford to make that bigger. Okay. You couldn't do it with one person and make it big. How can you make it with needing 2, 3, or 4? Now, if you're really gone to zero and that doesn't scale, then please, I'm missing something here, and please educate me. Please tell me why, what's holding you back. You put mobility out there.
Maybe you'd actually like to see it. And
I'll believe them. Well, maybe I won't, but no, I mean, geez, I'll try to believe them.
The LA Times, Alan, and our friend Russ Mitchell had a report that the California DMV is revisiting its approach to regulating Tesla's public self-driving test. They've taken a look at the many viral videos that are out there. We've all seen a bunch of them. The DMV now says it's reviewing Tesla's behavior and reassessing its own policies.
I mean, the problem is the name, full self-driving. If what Tesla is out there saying, the thing can drive itself, then, oh my goodness, California motor vehicles and so on should be out there looking over their shoulder and demanding to have data and so on and oversee them and make sure they're doing it safely. If, on the other hand, what Tesla is selling out there is what's in their glove compartment in your owner's manual, it says, look, you have to remain alert, attentive, and ready to take over. This does not drive itself. Okay, you have to be careful. Now, if that's what they're selling, well, that's what the OEMs have been selling since 1886 or something like that. You had to have a driver in the vehicle making sure it doesn't run off the road or keeping it on the road and doesn't run into things. Okay, so I don't know if you need new rules. You probably don't. In my 55 Chevy, I could take my hands off the wheel going straight down, Route 1. I think it was sort of, the wheels were like whatever, so that they tend to, want to stay straight. Okay. But, you don't need extra rules. You got to be attentive. You're responsible. If I'm responsible, okay, I don't think DMV needs it. I don't think you need them. If Elon's going to be responsible, and somebody's got to look over to make sure that the stuff works. In fact, I think Elon better make sure that it works because he's responsible. Now, if he's the one that's making the gizmo that does it, he says, hey, it doesn't work, it's on me. I'm sure, he's collecting the data, he's out there, he's making sure. Share it with DMV, of course, why not? Again, one of the key things that the whole industry should be, they should be sharing information about safety. We need antitrust exemption against sharing information about safety. That's not collusion. It shouldn't be collusion. The whole industry has to be safe. They should all be working together to make it safer. They shouldn't be hiding stuff. Hey, I got the secret sauce. Nobody else has. Let them crash 100 times. Okay.
One of the interesting things, Alan, great point, obviously, as always. One of the interesting things is if they call it full self-driving, which would lead you to believe that you don't need to be
which is
driving, but they only turn it on for people who have really, really good driving records. They're monitoring the driving behavior, and the people who are getting the full self-driving, the latest updates, are the good drivers.
Yeah, I think, so I don't know whether or not you need some more tests in California to make sure you're a certified overseer. It seems to me that maybe Tesla's done that themselves, made sure that the people that are testing this thing are really people that pay attention. And I guess we'll get to Missy Cummings's comment, and maybe we should go to Missy's comment.
Well, we can get to that now. Clean Technica had a report headlined: a new NHTSA senior advisor would put an electric cattle prod in Tesla seats to make drivers pay attention. This was taken, I think, a quote from a video of Missy Cummings from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, before she was at NHTSA. Right. I mean, don't these people have anything better to do? You're going to attack her for that? Actually, I support her. I think that's a great thing. Look, if you're not going to pay attention, we should maybe hit you over the head. Darn it. It's my safety, not just theirs. They're not paying attention. They're going to hit me. Cut it out. And I applaud Missy. Missy, I think that's a great statement. Okay? Come on. I mean, this is silly. This is serious business. Driving is not a right. It's a privilege. And that privilege has associated with it responsibility. And if you're not going to be responsible, then it's either a cattle prod, or you can go in the corner and put on the dunce cap and get a note from your mother, before we let you do it again. I don't care whichever one of those you want. Cut it out. You're dealing with my safety and your safety. So grow up.
We'll be back. I'm going to break here. We'll be back with more. But first, this is a good time to remind you about our sponsor, The Smart ETFs, Smart Transportation and Technology ETF, symbol MOTO. To get more info, go to motoetf.com. On the website, read the white paper. It's called the Smart Transportation Revolution. It's under the Insights and News tab. There's information there to help you make informed decisions about investing. You may know that ETFs can be a good way to spread risk with investments, maybe focus on a particular category of stocks. The website again is motoetf.com. We are back with more of Smart Driving Cars, going through the newsletter here.
But Fred, before we go to another one, I mean, I have to, comment on what I put in the newsletter about Missy's comment. I mean, can you imagine, the Biden administration or some administration appointing me to some government job and then having these guys go in and listen to some of our podcasts and some of the things we say here? Oh my goodness, they would have a field day on me. I mean, I would never even get through the first 5 seconds of the vetting process because, we can't have Kornhauser on this. Holy man. I mean, Missy, I support you.
I'll hold a hearing here. Professor, what did you mean by stupid summon?
Get a life.
Okay. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported on a bill supported by the state transportation secretary that will allow self-driving cars to be tested without someone behind the wheel or a driver available to take over in an emergency. So that leads you to believe that there's not an attendant on board too, that they're approving.
Whether there's an attendant, I can't believe that anybody, after all the discussions we've been having with respect to Tesla, would even suggest such a thing. Are you kidding? This is testing. This is testing to see if it works, because you don't know that it works. If it worked, then you wouldn't be testing.
Are they allowing then the next step? Is that what this legislation is?
I have no idea, but they talk about testing. They didn't say deployment. Okay. They talk about testing. Testing means you don't know. Otherwise, you wouldn't test. You're going to go out there and you don't know whether or not the thing's going to work, down the street, down Cleveland Lane. You better have a driver there. And what company would put out, I mean, what we did this with Pony.ai that somehow had a crash. Maybe that they were out there testing in California without a driver, without an attendant on board. What company would take that risk for the reward of saving the labor costs of having an attendant during testing? Testing time is this much. Deployment time is that much. The reason you don't want a driver in there is so you can make it affordable for many. Testing is, few. I mean, is there nobody awake out there? Please, come on, Pennsylvania. I hope I put a "come on, Pennsylvania" at the end of that one.
Pittsburgh is near and dear to our hearts.
I know. So I give Pennsylvania, go Stillers.
The Verge reports that GM will use Qualcomm's computer chips to power its next generation hands-free driving mode. The Ultra Cruise system is what they're calling it. It's due to arrive in the 2024 Cadillac. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Celitique?
Who knows? I mean,
electric sedan.
I guess I didn't even know that Qualcomm was in that business.
You're seeing this from more and more companies promising hands-free systems, and you just hope that it's not misconstrued by the public, the purchasers, owners, to mean that hands-free doesn't mean eyes-free or mind-free.
Yeah, so at least the GM systems do have an eye tracker, and if you take your eyes off the road for too long, they again make you sit in the corner with a dunce cap and don't let you use the system again until you have a note from your mother. But which is good. Okay, of course that's not what they do, but equivalent thereof. I learned something here. I didn't realize Qualcomm was in that business, was competing with NVIDIA Didn't know that. Or Intel. Didn't know that, because I mean, you look at Mobileye and Intel. I mean, Mobileye and Intel chipset, of course. You look at NVIDIA and the agreements they have with Mercedes and others and so on, to put the stack together. You look at I guess if Tesla can claim that they're making their own chips for their stack, great. I guess Qualcomm could go in there and be yet another. I didn't know they were in that business. I guess great. Qualcomm. I love Qualcomm. I've loved those folks, since they were created and so on.
The competition is good.
Yeah, no,
and
it's
then
great
a lot
company.
of people are expecting, I don't know what year it's going to be, that Apple's going to surprise us all, have a press conference and roll out their vehicle with their own chips too.
I don't believe. I don't think it's their look at the trouble people have making vehicles. I don't know. I mean, of course, Michael Senna and so on claim that, with EVs, it's a skateboard and it's easy to do. And, and Foxconn can do it, but maybe, but now, Ollie tried, but maybe Ollie was, just too small to matter or something. I don't know, but I don't want to comment. I don't know. I just don't know. Great.
Wait and see, right?
Wait and see. Hopefully it's not Nikola.
Planning is underway for the 5th annual Smart Driving Car Summit. It's scheduled for early May, the 6th and 7th. We want people to mark it on their calendars.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be interesting because there is so much happening in New Jersey.
Yep. We intend to lead the world. Okay. I know that Waymo tried Chandler, but we're going to get somebody here, and what Trenton deploys, the world employs.
And for more info about the summit and a lot of other things going on, we want to steer people to go to cartsmobility.com. It's the place to go for more information. There's information there about the summit and about what's going on in Trenton.
Yeah, and our focus there is deployment. Okay, I mean, our focus is the get to, delivering both societal value and corporate value out of all this this testing and development and research and so on that's taken place over the last 15 plus years since DARPA and before.
We want to thank our sponsor, the Smart ETF's Smart Transportation and Technology ETF. The ticker symbol for the ETF is MOTO. More info is available at motoetf.com. Technical support is provided by CARTS, the Corporation for Automated Road Transportation Safety, a 501c3 corporation. You can find us at smartdrivingcar.com, on Anchor FM, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple, Amazon, Google, Spreaker, wherever you get podcasts from. Your smart speaker can play us too. Got to try that. You can find my tech reports at techstination.com. I'm Fred Fishkin along with Alan Kornhauser. Thank you for listening or watching, and continue to stay safe.
Thank you all.